Welcome to your ultimate guide to relocating to Denver in 2024. Let's rock and roll. So today we are going to dive deep into the housing market and explore some of the different neighborhoods in both Denver and the surrounding suburban cities. And we're going to talk about what makes each part of town unique and what kind of price tag you can expect in those areas. So ultimately, this video is designed to be helpful and increase your level of clarity on the landscape for this very large city of Denver and the surrounding suburbs. So if moving here is on your horizon sometime in 2024 or later on, I hope you find this video really helpful. My name is Marco Randazzo. This channel is everything that you need to know about living here in Denver. I'm a realtor with 8Z Real Estate and I live right here in Arvada, Colorado. My office is in downtown Denver. I love living here and I love helping other people figure out how to get from where they are to where they want to be. As always, you can reach me via email or text, and my info is linked on screen and in the show notes. So if you have any questions and if you want to get answers, you can reach out to me anytime or drop them in the comments. And now let's get into the video. So today I'm going to be your guide as we navigate through this diverse real estate landscape of the Mile High City and beyond. So if you're new to understanding Denver's landscape, and if you're trying to decide generally on city or suburbs, I recommend pausing and watching this video linked right here on screen because it very broadly compares what it's like to live in the city of Denver versus living in the surrounding suburbs, and then come back to this video. For now, we're going to get a little bit more detailed. Denver and its surrounding suburban cities offer a very wide range of neighborhoods to suit various budgets and lifestyles. So let's start by exploring some of the more affordable options around the $500,000 price point. Then we're going to work our way up to the $750,000 price range, then up to $1 million, and then up to $2 million. So this will give you a good idea of what you can get in different parts of town for these kinds of budgets. Obviously, your life and your family, your job, that's going to dictate a lot of your decision. For example, if you're moving here and you're going to be based out of the Lockheed Martin office over in Morrison, well, then you're probably going to want to be looking in Morrison, Lakewood, Wheat Ridge, Littleton, Golden, things like that. Versus if you're going to be fully remote and you can live anywhere, well, then what do you like to do? Do you want to be close to the mountains? Do you want to be close to downtown? Do you want the most bang for your buck? How close do you want to be to the city? Like, those are the kind of questions I'd be asking if I were you and if you're fully remote. A lot of people in my experience base that decision off of lifestyle. Do they really want the most house for their buck, or do they want to be close to downtown or close to the mountains? Those are the most common scenarios in my experience. So we're actually going to look at those three examples. We're going to start there. Then we're going to go back to the price point conversation from low to high and explore the city that way. So I'm about to share my screen and we're going to dive into the MLS and see what kind of houses you get close to the mountains. Let's say for that example, you're going to be working at the Lockheed office over there in Morrison and you want to be close driving distance to that area. We're going to look at that example. Then let's say you could be fully remote, but you want to be close to downtown. We're going to look at that example. And then let's say you could live anywhere and you really just want the most bang for your buck and the most space for your family. So we're going to look at those three examples. Let's go. Now let's go out here to Morrison. Again, 1.8, pretty cool house in Ken Carroll. I really like this area also. It's just really fun to go out there and hike. Driving around is so pretty. This one's a little bit older. It feels a little bit 90s, but again, 1.8, pretty good bang for your buck. All right, now let's compare going really close to downtown Golden and look at what you get for $700,000. 912 square feet for this very basic 2018. Is it a one bedroom? Yeah, one bedroom condo. All right, last thing we'll look at this price range over here, sort of in the middle western part of Arvada at Rainbow Ridge. I sold one of these last year. I think these are one of the best investments for this price range. For $550, you get a brand new half duplex, 1,500 square feet. These all come with 2-car garages on the backside of them. All right, so now let's take the geographical needs off the table for a minute and talk about things purely from a monetary perspective. So for those of you who are looking to purchase a home without breaking the bank and you want to be in that $500,000 range, you might be best to search in neighborhoods east, like Painted Prairie out in Aurora. It's a new build community, really good bang for your buck and a good investment long-term because As the area gets finished and developed, home values are just going to go up. You might also want to look in suburban areas like Reunion and Commerce City. Relatively newer homes, and they're on the more affordable side of the housing options in the greater Denver area. So these areas provide a mix of some single family houses plus townhomes and condos, but overall, the prices are relatively lower compared to the average prices in Denver. They also have lots of amenities like great parks, great schools, shopping centers, and the neighborhoods are perfect for smaller families, maybe with a single income, or for families or people that are first-time home buyers that have that budget around $500,000. So now I'm going to share my screen again, and we're going to look at the kind of homes you can get in those areas for this price point. I have great news because me and my team have put together the ultimate relocation guide that is meant to save you hours of research. And here's the thing, it's completely free. Yeah, who doesn't love free? And I hope you find it helpful. So take a look at this. You can see every home for sale between $450,000 and $550,000. As you can see, there's quite a lot of options. This is not just single family houses, but this is a lot of condos and townhomes as well. And as you can see, more of these exist on the east side of town in general, because as you get closer to the mountains, things tend to get more expensive. So now we're going to zoom in and take a look at 7 of these examples. All right. Let's see, starting with this house here in Denver. This is like a very basic house for $600,000. It's just listed a couple weeks ago, 2,000 square feet, 1963. It's a nice little house, single car garage, nothing like super special about it necessarily. Let's take a look again so you can see in the map where that one is. That's down here in Englewood, okay? So that's about what you get down there. Earlier in the video, I mentioned Painted Prairie. So let's look, this is Painted Prairie out here by the airport. New build community. This is really one of the only places you're going to be able to get a brand new house. Look at that, built in 2024 for anything like this price range. It's about 2,000 square feet, 3-bed, 3-bath. It's going to be pretty simple and basic, nothing super fancy, but it's brand spanking new. So if you need a brand new house and this is your budget around 500 grand, Painted Prairie is a good place to look. Also, I mentioned Reunion out here. This is not exactly Reunion. Reunion is over here. We'll look at this one in a second. But I sold a house in this neighborhood. One of my friends lives here now. He produces super awesome metal music. Super cool dude. And this house was built in 2003. It's a little bit smaller. I think it's like 1,700 square feet. But technically it's Commerce City. This is a good bang for your buck. Good value. Smaller houses, but single family house under 500. Great place to look. Let's look at this house out here in Reunion. For $525, you get a really nice house. Only built 7 years ago, 2,000 square feet, 3-bed, 4-bath. You're starting to see like the trend, right? Smaller lots, but pretty newer houses compared to like some of the older homes in Denver. All right, let's take a look at what I think is a bad investment for this price range. So this is technically Berkeley. Really, it's Chaffee Park. Sometimes they call this area Berkeley. Really, when people talk about Berkeley, they're talking about the northwest part of the Highlands. This is like the cool Berkeley area. Up here is like not as cool of the Berkeley area. Let's see. All right, so this one, you can already see it's been on the market since July. No one's going to buy that house, at least not for anything like this. Built in 1940. The ceilings, you can already tell, are going to be super low. Not much of a yard. Pretty basic house. Kind of a cheap flip. Not a very good investment for that price range. If you want to live in a smaller, it's not technically a condo. This one's a duplex, smaller half duplex. Check this out. I know, again, I scroll through pictures really fast, so thanks for bearing with me. But this is 1,000 square feet, 1-bed, 1-bath in Curtis Park. But look at where you are. You can walk to everything in Rhino. You can walk to Lodo. I mean, this is an awesome location. So if you really want to pay for just the location, you can get into a small condo, flat, duplex, something like this for $420. Like if you want to live in the action and your budget's under 500, something like that is actually a good way to go. You just want to consider that they're harder to sell. It's harder to sell a 1-bed, 1-bath. So you might want to have a strategy of keep it for a couple years, but then get your income up as fast as possible so you can afford the better house and keep that as a rental, because those kind of things make really good investment properties. All right, last thing we'll look at this price range over here, sort of in the middle western part of Arvada at Rainbow Ridge. I sold one of these last year. I think these are one of the best investments for this price range. For 550, you get a brand new half duplex, 1,500 square feet. These all come with 2-car garages on the backside of them. They're brand new Richmond homes. It's a nice builder. They're not like the fanciest of builders, but for the value in their price range, I think this is one of the best deals, especially for new construction, because once this community is finished, all the values are just going to go up. Now, if you are lower than this range for your budget, there are going to be some options. They're just going to be limited, and they're probably more like condos, smaller townhomes, or single family homes that need a lot of work. Still, if you know you're going to be living here for at least 2 years, it's better to get a starter home that you can eventually leverage into the home you really want, rather than just wasting all your money on rent and paying someone else's mortgage instead of your own. Now, let's say that you're in that $750,000 price range. This is a very common range for people to be shopping in. It's closer to the median price for homes. For example, here in Arvada, the median single family house price is around $700,000. So let's say you have 2 good incomes to contribute to this, or maybe you have 1 or 2 kids and you just want some more space, but you still want to be in a good neighborhood. Okay, so this is where we're going to sit for a few minutes. If you're willing to stretch your budget a little bit further, even beyond this price point, you can get into awesome neighborhoods close to downtown, like Congress Park and Baker is a really cool area. And you're going to have more options in the suburbs like Littleton, Lakewood, and Arvada. Those areas might be good for you as well. So in these areas, you're going to find a mix of a lot of different old and newer homes. The condos are going to be more, not trendy, but well, I guess kind of trendy, just more modern. The townhomes also very new, very modern in this price range. And typically the closer you are to amenities, shops, and restaurants, the more expensive homes will be overall. But the great thing about all these areas I've mentioned is there's parks all over the place. There's lots of hiking trails. I know we're like taking a really, really wide look right now, but the thing is Denver has so many great outdoor spaces in all of the different parts of town. So it really depends on where you are and where you want to be. I always say that. And it's a song from Taking Back Sunday. Where you wanna be. It's also their second album. I digress. You really just want to factor in what's your affordability factor and what's the convenience factor you need for your life, then narrow things down from there. So again, we're going to pause this. I'm going to go share my screen and we're going to look on the MLS and kind of see the houses you can get for this price range in these different parts of town. All right, so now we're going to look at some homes in that $750,000 range. I pulled up 7 examples. So we're going to start down here and you'll see that down in Highlands Ranch, like you get a decent house for this is $775, 3,300 square feet. It's a little bit older, 1996, but like this house definitely needs a lot of remodeling. But for this price range, like as you can start to see, your options go up, the spaces are going to get bigger. If you want to live like right in the action, so again, like right here, Cheeseman Park, close to Cap Hill, this is an awesome area. Here's one of these older condos. This building was built in 1910. I showed one of these a couple months ago. This building's really cool. Got a lot of historic charm. So this condo, a little bit smaller, but you know, a lot of charm, a lot of natural light. Actually 1,600 square feet. It's a decent size, but if you've been in these, they feel like historic. Like if they have the original doorknobs, like it feels old. You do want to keep in mind with stuff like this, especially if you're on like the middle level, the floors are going to creak. You're going to hear people above you because these buildings were not built originally to sustain like keeping all the noise in the way that like new construction is built these days. You're definitely going to hear your neighbors. So if you have a dog or if your neighbors have a dog, you just want to consider the noise factor. If privacy isn't as important to you, these are in a really good location. It's just going to be, you're going to feel like you're in it with a lot of people. All right, now let's go out here to a really popular neighborhood, Park Hill, and you will see that for just under 800, you don't really get a lot. It's a 2,000 square foot house built in 1948, but it's like pretty simple. It's like one big open floor plan. The pictures make this look kind of nice. It's some parts of it have been remodeled, but it's like you can see the house has been on the market for almost 2 months for a reason. It's just not as good bang for your buck. Even though that is a really nice neighborhood, it's just really expensive out there. Let's see. Let's go out here to Arvada. Okay, so this is really close to where I live. Lake Crest. Again, you're really close to Stanley Lake, so your dollar does not go that far. Like this home needs a lot of remodeling, but this is the kind of 90s homes that are out there for this price range. This home was just listed. It's really close to the lake, so I do think it'll sell somewhere around this price range. You can see it needs a lot of work. generally speaking, you're paying for location. Again, to be close to the lake is really, really cool here. Let's see. Let's go out here. The landing at Stanley Lake, another neighborhood with these like older homes. This one looks like it needs more work. It does have a lot of windows. It's just like nothing that special. But again, it's location. You're paying to be out here in Arvada. It's expensive. All right, now let's look down in Wheat Ridge. So this is where the price range of like 700 to 800 really goes a long way, and I think is a good investment. This one's coming on the market this weekend. It's technically in Edgewater, although this is the city of Wheat Ridge. So as you get like closer to Sheridan, you got to be careful because it gets kind of not as nice. But then right on the other side, you're into Sloan's Lake and Highlands area, which is super cool. This whole area is considered Edgewater, and it is very much like a part of Sloan's Lake. Once you get farther over here to Pierce and Teller, it really starts to feel like you're more into Wheat Ridge. But over here, some parts of it feel like you're close to Sloan's Lake. All right, so let's look at this house. This was built in 1889, so it's old, but I don't pull the pictures up wide on this one because it's really cool. They remodeled it on the inside. It's got a big yard. Oh, it's so nice. It's got the original charm, original brick. Can't tell if those are original hardwood floors or not. Kitchen has not been remodeled, but like this is a very cool little house for this price range. It just looks cozy. So we'll see if that thing sells really fast. All right, now let's compare going really close to downtown Golden and look at what you get for $700,000. 912 square feet for this very basic 2018. Is it a one bedroom? Yeah, one bedroom condo. So if you want to be able to walk to everything in downtown Golden for this price range, you can. You're just going to have a tiny ass place. Now let's say you are closer to the $1 million price range. This is all relative. So let's just say you're coming from Ohio, okay? That sounds kind of expensive. Let's say you're coming from San Francisco. This sounds cheap. So it's all about perspective. In full transparency, this was the price range my wife and I were shopping in 2 years ago. We bought this place for around $900,000, and we just bit the bullet. We knew we were going to be living here in Arvada for a long time. We now have 2 kids. We needed the space, and we wanted to be closer to the mountains, and we are okay to pay to play, as they say. So this is totally worth it for us, and we love living here. So for those of you with a larger budget, closer to $1 million, you also will have access to neighborhoods like Cherry Creek and Hilltop. Those are neighborhoods around Denver, as well as suburban areas that have more expensive houses like Greenwood Village, Highlands Ranch, some parts of Littleton. Even Wheat Ridge is getting kind of expensive, but usually you can find homes in that area for less than $1 million. Some parts of Northwest Arvada, definitely. Golden, you don't get as much bang for your buck for $1 million, but those are some of the areas around Denver with realistic, solid home values around this price point. Most of the homes in these areas are going to offer you more space unless you're really close to a downtown area, like really close to Old Town Arvada. Your dollar doesn't go as far. Really close to downtown Golden, $1 million really doesn't get you that nice of a house. Versus in the middle of Arvada, for example, $1 million gets you a really, really nice house. Also, there's areas of Westminster and Broomfield where there's really nice neighborhoods like Legacy Ridge, where for around $1 million, you can get a house that's literally on the golf course if that's what you're into. So let's hop into the MLS and take a look at what you get around $1 million. And if you like what we're going to cover in this next section, then after this video, you probably want to watch my other video, which dives deeper into the $1 million price range around Denver. So this is going to be a short version of that. And that really uncovers more of the areas that I think are worth it, or the kind of homes that are in this price range that really are not. Let's go. Now let's look at some homes in that $1 million price range. So we're going to start down here in Littleton, and you'll see that like down here, you start to get a nicer home, but this is like a pretty expensive part of Littleton because you're close to the old historic part of downtown Littleton. So as you can see, 1969, not a lot of updates, but like this house was just listed. I do think it'll sell fast. I just don't know exactly for what price, but this area really holds its value. But that's a bigger house. It's 3,500 square feet. Let's look down here in Sterling Ranch. So these houses for brand new homes are really cool. I sold one of these last year, 980,000, brand new. Well, not brand new, but like 4 years ago. So this community is like being finished, but you can see they're really sleek, really sharp. The lots are not as big unless you pay a lot more, but you're really paying for the inside of the house for these. As you can see, they look brand new. It's 4,000 square feet, super sweet home. For that $1 million price range, if you got a couple kids and you want to be close to the mountains, this is a really great area to be looking. All right, let's look out here in Morrison. Also, this is a new build. So out here, Red Rocks Ranch, not like the fanciest because it's Lennar and they're like not like super high end builder necessarily, but good bang for your buck in an awesome location. And you're right across the street from Red Rocks, so you can go to shows there all the time. All right, let's look at what $1 million gets you in the middle of Lakewood. 2018, almost 4,000 square feet, a little bit of an older house. Not exactly a modern style, but for this price range, like you get a big house in a good location. So there's Lakewood. Now let's get up into downtown a little bit more. Check this out. If you got around $1 million budget and you want to be able to like walk to Rockies games and all that stuff, you want to live right here in Lodo, you can get a really cool condo. This one's pretty big actually. It's like 1,600 square feet. Let's take a look at this. Higher ceilings, got that old vibe going on, cool windows. Like this is a sexy place, but I want to show you something that's not quite as sexy. Look at the HOA on this thing. Now, if you want to live right in Lodo and be able to walk to Coors Field, right? There's Coors Field. For just under $1 million, you can get a really cool condo, 1,600 square feet. Got a cool, sexy vibe going on in here. Now over here in Highland, I'm going to show you two. Over here, this one in Lower Highlands is, I think, one of the best homes on the market for just over $1 million. It's a half duplex. It's only 7 or 8 years old, 2,400 square feet. It has a finished basement. This one's still sitting on the market. It's been there for 6 weeks with a price reduction. So like stuff like that is out there. I'll show you one more. If you want to live in a condo a little closer to Lower Highlands, you can get a really cool condo with really high ceilings. This one's been on the market for like 3 weeks. These condos don't sell quite as fast, so I'm not surprised. But you can get a 1,200 square foot condo for 1.1. Again, you're really paying for the location there. Now, as you go farther out into the suburbs, your dollar does go farther. Let's look at this house on the market in Westminster. I've seen this one before. This one has a piano. Yep, I want to play this piano. I got to check this place out. I've seen it so many times because it's been on the market for like 2 months. It's still overpriced, even though it's a big house, 5,500 square feet. It just needs a lot of work and a lot of remodeling. Kind of feels old. But for under 1.1, you can get a huge house out there in Westminster. Now let's look at where your dollar doesn't go as far. Superior, very expensive as we get into Boulder County. This house, not very nice, pretty old. I've been in there, kind of smells like smoke. 1,050,000, and like the house needs a lot of work, right? Erie, we're going the other way. If you go up north to Erie, $1 million gets you a sweet house. $1,075,000, 2006. Big lot. It's not like the most modern, but it's like, this is a big house, 4,000 square feet. This is a really nice neighborhood. So that's what you can get in Erie. And that's sort of a quick look at what you get for around $1 million. Now, if you're shopping in that $1 million to $1.5 million price range, your options are really going to open up. There is a really big difference between a house listed for $1 million and a house listed for $1.5 million. Now, as you get into this price range, homes don't always sell fast because the buyer pool does get a little bit smaller, but it all depends. I sold a house recently by Sloan's Lake for $1.2 million. The first weekend on the market, it went under contract. Meanwhile, there's a home down the street that was listed at $1.25 million and it sat on the market for like a month. So it really all depends on the price point and the kind of house. Meanwhile, just a block over from here, there is a single family house, 1950s bungalow that was listed for $1.275 million, had 3 offers on the first day and went under contract like that. And 2 doors down from that house, there is a brand new duplex listed for just under $1.4 million. That's been sitting on the market for like 5 weeks. I just did an open house for this listing this weekend. It's a really cool house and it's still for sale. Now, really quick, let's look at the homes in the $1.5 to $2 million range. There are some sweet houses out there. I'm actually pretty excited to hop into the MLS right now and look at some of these with you because they are dope. All right, we're gonna do a quick look at these 11 homes on the market for around $1.5 million. So let's take an example and go way out here. This is by South Shore. All right. This is in the Blackstone Country Club neighborhood. Super nice. 2008, so a little bit older, but like 5,000 square feet. You can see like you get a pretty big, really sweet house with really high ceilings if you can go up to 1.25 million. We're just going to swing this way. So Highlands Ranch, 1.4, you can pretty much get any kind of house you want. This is almost 6,000 square feet, 20 years old, huge house. Look at all the guitars in this room. I just want to pause right here and look at all these guitars. I want to be friends with this guy and go play music with him. That is a sweet house. I don't think all the guitars are included with this house. Up here in Littleton, again, your dollar doesn't go quite as far. So for 1.2, you might not get as much house as you think. 3,300 square feet, 1979. It's on a decent lot. Some of it has been renovated. Some of it hasn't. This is a tri-level, which they typically don't sell for quite as much. It's kind of an open tri-level concept. But again, Littleton, very expensive. So your dollar doesn't go quite as far. We're going to swing way out here west to Evergreen. I've sold a few houses out here to people who wanted like a budget up to 1.5 and they wanted acreage of land and views. And these are some of the sweetest houses that I've sold. So let's take a look at this. If you have 1.25 in Evergreen, you can get 10 acres of land for a decent sized house. So almost 3,000 square feet. Let's take a look at this thing. Look at the views on this place. Oh, you basically own your own corner of this mountain. Older house. The house itself, nothing specifically special, but like you're paying for the land and the lot and the views. All right, let's swing up here into Denver. Now, if you want to live in one of these really cool condos, closer to 2 million, you get a really nice place. So, or closer to 1.5 million, you get a really nice house. So 1.3, 2,400 square feet. So starting to feel like a bigger home. Let's take a quick look at this. That's just the entrance, Now we're in here. How do you get this grand piano up into this condo? I do not know. And I don't want to have to try. But this is like New York style living. Fancy condo, super sleek, really edgy, charming. It's like the kind of place you go to have cocktail parties. But I want to show you something that's not so sexy about this place, and that's the HOA. $2,350 a month. And that's because the gyms in this thing are like, the handles on every workout machine are basically made of gold and, you know, super fancy. You get the point. All right. Over in this budget, you start to, if you get just outside of downtown, you can get a really nice house. 2017, 2,800 square feet, City Park. This is a really nice area. I just sold a house in Whittier, really close to here, that was like 2 years old for just under 1.35 million. And the buyers love it. It's basically a new house, super nice part of town. And if you're just under that 1.5 range, Clayton, Whittier, some of Park Hill, like this is a good area to be considering if you want to be close to downtown and still have decent bang for your buck. All right, over here into Sunnyside, you can get a brand new half duplex for this price range. There's a lot of these in Sunnyside and Lower Highlands and Sloan's Lake. These brand new half duplexes in that up to 1.5 range that are really, really cool, really, really nice. Most of them are at least 2,500 square feet, up to 4,000 square feet. I think I've seen them. A lot of them have rooftop decks. They're really cool. So if you've got a budget like up here in that 1.2, 1.3, 1.4 range, and you want something like newer and in the action, there's a lot of cool options that are out there, and they don't always sell super fast. So you can maybe even be in a non-competitive situation and negotiate a deal on them. We're going to look at one of those. So over here, Sloan's Lake, I just did an open house for this listing. This one is listed just under 1.4. It's 3,300 square feet. It's a half duplex. It's brand new. MAG is the builder. They did a really good job with this one. Check it out though. You got a front dining room, brand new kitchen. All the finishes are really sleek. I just put out a video on this also because I loved the walkthrough of this house. I'm going to show you more of this house. Why not? The primary suite has a large balcony right off of it. See if it's on here. Yeah, so this is the primary suite, big balcony, super cool. And then up on the third level, we'll skip all these. This is the third level. You have an additional living room, a nice little bar area, and an even bigger patio, which they barely show in the photos. I don't know why, but like this patio is even bigger than the first one. Plus it has a fully finished basement that's like almost 1,000 square feet down there. Awesome views of downtown. You do have some mountain views, although when the trees are in full bloom, you won't be able to see them. But like, to live close to Sloan Lake and have just under a 1.5 budget, I would be buying something like this for a brand new house. All right, now let's contrast that with space. If you want to live out here in Northwest Arvada, over here in Cameo Estates, you can get a 3-acre plot of land. This is an older 1960s house, but as you can see, you have sweeping mountain views. And Stanley Lake is just right to the east of here. So like this area is awesome. I drive past this all the time because I live just on the south side of the lake. The house itself, nothing like super special because it's a little bit older, but you're really paying for the lot, the land around it, and the views. Now, as you get up here into Louisville, you'll see that like this budget doesn't go quite as far, but there are a lot of like just fine houses for this 1.2, 1.3 price range. 93, 1.3 million, 4,000 square feet. This house has lots of actually pretty cool natural light, but like other than that, it's kind of basic. And that's because Louisville and Boulder County is wicked expensive. Now let's go out here to Broomfield. This is an Anthem where this kind of budget, 1.275, gets you a really nice house. 3-car garage, 8 years old, 4,300 square feet. You know, the lots here are not like super big, so you are going to be close to your neighbors in Anthem. But the house itself, pretty big, pretty nice, lots of space. If you have a lot of kids and you want to be in Broomfield and you need a big house, Anthem is a good area to look. Lastly, let's look at some homes up to the $2 million range. There are some sweet homes out here. All right, so now we're going to look at what you get for up to the $2 million range, between 1.5 and 2. Let's say you want as much space as possible. You might want to go out here to some place like Lac Bowie, which I did sell a house out here last year, and I had to learn how to say the name Lac Bowie. I didn't hear any residents saying it like that, but that's what I say because it sounds fun. For 1.65, 6,000 square feet. So you get basically a massive, massive house. Look at this. It looks like it's a 3-story house just on the inside. Big ass house, and that one's on an acre of land. Swing over here to Broomfield area, 1.8. This house is super nice. Corner lot, not that old. Let's take a look at this a little bit closer. This is just a really cool house. Cool staircase, nice finishes, open fireplace, cool office, big staircase, tall ceilings. Like, I love this house, honestly. So for this price range, 1.8, you can get an awesome, awesome house if you want to live in Broomfield. Good bang for your buck. Your dollar goes far. Now, your dollar does not go as far if you want to be, again, like in Denver, but you start to get a nicer house. So let's say you really want to be in Cherry Creek. I would not buy an attached home personally for this price range, but this is a townhome that just went on the market at $1.8 million. It's 4,000 square feet. This is the kind of house for someone who wants to live close to all the awesome shopping and amenities and fancy stuff by Cherry Creek, but doesn't want to have to maintain their own yard. So I get it. There is a market for that. It's a cool house. It's just like for this kind of price range, resale and value, I think, is really in the single family homes. All right, now let's go down here south of Wash Park. This is a really nice house. There's a lot of cool houses in that like $1.5 to $3 million range. We're not going to cover stuff up to $3 million in this video. But this house was built 100 years ago. It's 2,800 square feet, listed at 1.75 million. Older, charming, historic, smaller, right? As you can see, it's small, but like you're paying to be right by Wash Park. Look where this house is. It's just like 6 blocks over, and then you're right on Wash Park. So pretty cool location. I love this area. You can see South Table Mountain. You can see North Table Mountain from here. You're really close to downtown Golden, and the mountains are just to the west. This is just an awesome area. Look at the views on this thing, though. 5,000 square feet, and look at this. Through the windows on the main level, you have views of the mountains. I mean, that's beautiful. That's like what people think of when they think of Colorado. And this house was just listed, so we'll see what it sells for. For 1.9, big single-family house, nice views. That's what a lot of people imagine when they think about living in Colorado. Now let's go out here to Morrison. Again, 1.8. Pretty cool house in Ken Carroll. I really like this area also. It's just really fun to go out there and hike. Driving around is so pretty. This one's a little bit older. It feels a little bit 90s, but again, 1.8, pretty good bang for your buck. And let's go down here to Highlands Ranch. So up to $2 million, you can pretty much get any kind of house you want. Look at that. It's like a 4-story house with a pool. The house looks pretty cool. And we're not going to go into detail, but if you got a budget of like 1.5 up to 2, there are a lot more options that start to open up in Superior, Lafayette, Louisville, definitely Erie, but Boulder County is really expensive. And the homes that are like under that, like closer to $1 million in this areas, are really honestly just like not as nice. That's why I think if you're shopping in that around the 1 million range, Westminster, Arvada, Wheat Ridge, Lakewood, Golden, like these kind of areas, Littleton, are going to be better value, better bang for your buck, and better resale, honestly. Quick note about new construction. A lot of custom homes are going to be in this price range. There's some that you can get under 1.5, but I just priced out a new ranch with a builder I'm working with for one of my clients, and it's around 1.65 for the ranch they really want on a lot that they're considering getting. The whole world of new construction to build a custom home, by the way, this is a totally different animal and they're not always going to be listed in the MLS. So if you're interested in building a house, reach out to me. We can set up a conversation to help you get started to understand your options around how that is going to work, because it is a very different ballgame than buying a resale house. Sometimes they're listed on the MLS and you'll be able to see the lot, the custom build, the plan, the design, all the price all in one. Sometimes it's just you're available to buy the lot itself and then you can do whatever design you want. Sometimes they have a builder that they have options for you. They can do plans. There's a lot of different ways to mix and match custom new build homes. So again, let me know if you have questions about how those work. Generally speaking, they are expensive, but they are really, really cool. Again, it's really hard to get a custom new build house for anywhere close to that $1 million range. Most of them are going to be in that $1.5 to $2 million range. And of course, if you got the money, you can spend a lot more than that. But that's generally where a lot of them that I'm seeing are landing in that price range right now. Okay, we're going to wrap up this video, but here is the thing you really need to know. If you actually have a desire to get you and your family into your dream home or your semi-dream home before you really get into your dream home, depending on your budget, you cannot screw around with this kind of stuff. You just can't. If you watch the market and you just watch Zillow and wait for the right house to come up, you're going to be screwed really, really fast. I'm telling you. Just in that example we talked about, where anyone who came to my listing that Wednesday after the first weekend totally missed their shot, gone. And that was a sweet house. So if that was the one that got away, they have nobody to blame but themselves for not being prepared in advance. The only way you can arm yourself against this happening to you is to be fully prepared ahead of time. You've got to be working closely with a local realtor and a local lender that you trust to guide you through the process so that you can be set up for success when the right opportunity comes up, because you never know when that right house is going to come along. Could be next month, could be next year. You can't control what inventory comes on the market, but you can control how proactive you are and who you put in your corner to partner with you through this journey. All right, so there you have it. Whether you are a first-time home buyer or a seasoned real estate investor who's bought homes many times, there are several factors to consider when purchasing a home, relocating to Denver or its surrounding suburban cities, including location, amenities, resale potential. There's a lot to consider. So make sure to do your research, explore the different neighborhoods, and consider your long-term goals before making your decision. Again, the best way to get this level of clarity is with a buyer consultation. I offer those over a Zoom call just like this. It's 1 hour of my time to go over everything you need to know specific to you and your family's situation. I am happy to be a local expert and a resource for you. So just reach out anytime to set that up. And I'm looking forward to meeting you. So that is your ultimate guide to relocating to Denver in 2024. We took a very broad look at the housing market and its surrounding suburban areas and the different price points. So ultimately, I hope that was really helpful for you. If you did find this video helpful, thank you for hitting that like button and subscribing to the channel. I really appreciate it. Peace.